How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, where last week was fun. We got to bring out an old collaborator on the channel, the Coconuts. The Coconuts of Protection, the Coconuts of Please YouTube Spare My Channel, the Coconuts of I refuse to receive the purely hacked down versions of the games, but I will have to adjust them in order to make sure I'm compliant. It's all the same things, but the Coconuts made an appearance. If you're wondering, wow, that looked like a really terrible PNG type of editing, it is, but it's intentional. I'm sure I could do a much better job, but frankly, I just kind of like the joke now. I think that having the Coconuts appear, it's just a thing, and I love it. Also, thank you for the week break. Some of you probably know, wife had a surgery. I've been taking care of her. She's still in recovery, but she's a lot better. It's given me the luxury of having a little bit more time to myself. Because I can actually sleep through the night and everything, which is fine. I definitely don't mind taking care of her, but I miss making content, so I'm really grateful to be back into it. I'm hopefully going to be consistent, but until she makes a full recovery, it's no guarantee. So I might end up missing a day or two or something. But so far, it looks like this week's gone really well. So yeah, we're gonna do that. But yeah, so last time we had our shopping trip. Got to meet our what's her name? Was it Amane? I don't think it was, but maybe it was. In my head now, she's just Sumika, which is not fair, but it's sticking. But yeah, so it was fun, interesting. She seems like a very interesting character. She's so unshy and unreserved. It's really almost I don't want to say intimidating, but almost off-putting in a way. But then when it comes to just her interacting with people and just being herself, at least as far as I can tell, she seems very pleasant and interesting to talk to and get along with. So I don't think, she definitely left a better impression this time around. Although it wasn't the best of start of impressions, it ended on a pretty positive note. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. But I'm curious to think, I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing, more interaction with other characters as well today. So, we'll see what happens. So, let's just dive into it, shall we? No matter what sort of life you're living, you'll run into people who just won't listen to what you have to say. When words don't get through, the easiest alternative is beating them into submission. Certainly a bit of a rough solution, but when you're dealing with another man, it's at least an option. But when you're dealing with a woman, let alone a shrimp of a girl who doesn't come up to your shoulder, it's a different story. If you start swinging your fists around out of irritation under those circumstances, anyone would call it bullying the weak. It's a bad style and would leave an unpleasant aftertaste. Yeah! What's called for in such situations is pervasiveness and patience. In this age of rapid scientific progress, I'd like some medicine you could stick in your back, throw a switch zen-like, and instantly gain instant self-control. But sadly, despite the market potential for such a device, the world is yet such a convenient place. Well, no big deal. Fortunately enough, I'm pretty used to endurance tests. So it's going to be the trial of Makina. It's been 5 minutes since I spotted Irisu Makina wandering aimlessly around the campus and called out, "What are you up to?" in a casual tone. On the bright side, she reacted to my voice and stopped dead in her tracks instead of fleeing. But beyond that, things haven't gone well. Yeah, she went from utter terror to just deer in headlights. Staring fixedly up at my face, Makina doesn't speak a word. Can you not speak Japanese? Oh boy. Silent as always, Makina shakes her head back and forth in denial, apparently having understood my question. Are you afraid of me, maybe? I don't know if that voice is shyness or snideness. Her silence continues, and this time there's neither confirmation nor denial. Oh, wrong button. It doesn't seem likely that she doesn't understand the question, which would mean this is one in uncertain territory, somewhere between yes and no, as far as I can guess. I'm repeating myself, but this sort of communication takes a lot of patience and persistence. I try to consciously consider things from Makina's point of view. A transfer student with unclear background. What's more, a man of 178 centimeters height. From the perspective of Makina, who I'd guess to be around 140 centimeters, it might well be a little intimidating to have me towering above her. For the moment, I crouch down so that my eyes are level with hers. The appropriate way to talk to short people. Get on their level, crouch down, emphasize the height difference by subduing it. Seems like you were wandering around grounds. Are you looking for something?
違うのよ。
Oh, hey, it seemed to work. Makina speaks a single word in a quiet voice and once again shakes her head in denial. Then what were you doing? That's a point of some interest to me, but well, if you're getting down to it, whatever she is and whatever she's doing is her own business, I suppose. I'm not a policeman. I don't have any reason to drag it out of her. In this case, it might be best to find some words to wrap this up cleanly, give her a friendly goodbye, and let this timid creature be on her way. But as I reach for this conclusion, Makina slowly moves her hand to the rear of her skirt, grabs something with her stubby finger, and pushes it in front of my eyes. What is this thing? I glance at the item in Makina's hand is a toy-like object roughly the size of an egg, with an LCD screen buried into the center.
Digital pet.
It's a Tamagotchi! What's that? On closer examination, there's some unknown life form or monster, most closely resembling a chick, displayed in blocky pixels on the central LCD. Seems to be programmed with some cheap animations, about 3 patterns or so. Come to think of it, I remember reading a news article about this a few years ago. After developing the smallest 3-axle geomagnetism sensor in the world at the time, a certain company fed that technology into a children's electronic toy, which then became an explosive hit among grade schoolers. It's a pedometer, right? One of those things where the pet grows faster the more you walk?
So.
Aww, she's so cute! Nodding her head, Makina returns the pedometer to her hand in her hand to her waist. In other words, she wasn't looking for anything in particular. Her wandering itself was the objective. Walking's a good thing, since it's aerobic exercise without too much strain on the joints, and if you're going to walk anyway, having some sort of visual result from the effort might make it feel more worthwhile.
外にはあまり出たくないから。
Makina points at the school gate as she speaks. I see. It makes sense that she'd want to avoid crowded places given her extreme shyness. That would restrict her strolls to pacing around the school grounds, which would quickly get repetitive. So the digital pet serves as a distraction from that boredom, most likely. You like taking walks?
微妙。
Yeah. Kinda like me. I enjoy walks, kinda. It's not like it's the highlight of my day, but it's good to do. Sorta, is it? Well, walking for fun at this age might be a little odd. Seems more like a hobby of an old man. You have any other interests? Like reading, for example. Read any books lately?
本？
Manga's fine too, or whatever. To tell the truth, I'd already heard from Amane that Makina often reads books, and reading is a hobby of mine as well. I think it's a decent common topic for starters. In response to my question, Makina holds her right index finger to her chin and mumbles, while gazing up at the sky.
クイズの本。
Interesting. Quiz, huh? Was it interesting?
裸眼で直視すると命に関わる危険なお菓子ってなんだ？
The dangerous sweet that's life-threatening to observe with the naked eye. Dangerous sweet that's like you don't want to see it. So it's sweet but deadly, and if you observe it with your eye, it'd be bad. I don't know. I'm drawing a complete blank here, not even a guess. Life-threatening to observe with the naked eye. What kind of death ray weapon is that? And a sweet of all things. Some new tech from the West? Just looking at it's dangerous. Would mean probably some variety of optical weapons. Something like an X-ray possessing mass? Or some sort of beam saber style light-based killing tool? Holy crap, I never even thought of an idea of an X-ray possessing mass. That'd essentially be an X-ray in a photonic X-ray. Because some photons of like high energy light, like gamma rays and other things, have like a physical effect that, like a physical like effect, despite the fact that they're not really matter as we know it. It seems like they're almost like in a phase point between the two. So an X-ray possessing mass used as a cannon would be terrifying, especially because X-rays, if I remember correctly, are about about a meter to like a meter and a half in like wavelength. So this would be a gun that, if it could fire, it could be used to like actually make do physical damage, like a physical hit you and blind you, take your eye out, blast you with like a gun. You'd be looking at a cannon that could punch holes the size of manhole covers in the sides of walls and in people. No, but if it's just seeing it's dangerous, some sort of super weapon that radiates a pulse to the receptors of the eyeball using a flickering pattern to stimulate the brain cells and trigger accelerated apoptosis? Hold it. This thing's a sweet, right? A sweet. What the heck? Where do we go from there? All I'm getting is some sort of chocolate pastry shooting out a mysterious beam of light. Pew, pew, pew. I don't know. I give up. What's the answer?
みたらし団子
Deadly the sea? What?
見たらし団子見たら死ぬのよ
Oh gosh, darn it, it's a pun. C and D. C and I. Sandy. C and I. D and I. I get it. I missed that angle. Candy.
もう行ってもいい
Oh, yeah, sorry to hold you up. Without even a bye or later, Makina leaves the area at a trot, as if fleeing from me. It doesn't seem like she's outright hates me, though.
逆じゃないかな
Oh, how long have you been there?
みたらし団子のあたりかな
By the way, I like how I said, I think her name's Amane, but I'm not sure that's right. I was right. What do you mean by the opposite?
あーまあなんつうか単純に人見知りってのもあるけどマキナはユージ君に嫌われないようにしてるんだと思うよ
So she's shy, but she doesn't want us to not like her. Okay, trying not to be disliked.
マキナって本当はもっと明るい子なんだけど明るすぎてうざがられることも多いから警戒してるのよ
So she's not just like childlike in appearance, she's childlike in mannerisms. True enough, I remember seeing her rushing around brandishing a cicada and cackling that first time. If that's her normal state, then the way she behaves in front of me would certainly be a product of deliberate self-restraint. But
警戒しているってことはユージ君に嫌われないように意識してるって証拠じゃない
I think it could be interpreted as simple fear as well.
まあ怯え半分ってのはあると思うけど大丈夫じゃないかな
What makes you say that?
さっきマキナと会話するときユージ君マキナの目線に合わせて腰を低くしたでしょ
Okay.
あれって実は有効手段なんだよね
So if she doesn't take it personal, it's not a bad idea. Yeah. When I was a kid, there was a time I'd be surrounded by unfamiliar adults and found myself on the brink of tears. When one of the adults stooped down to talk with me face to face, I immediately got emotionally attached. Looking back, I feel like shouting, "You sure got attached to outrageous person," or complaining about what an idiot I was, but
ほら私も背高い方だし最初はマキナもなかなか懐かなくってさ目線を合わせて話すって裏技に気づくのに1ヶ月もかかったよ
okay. So we got a plan here. And now she's glued to you, or something like that?
確かにべったりだけど言うほどいつも一緒ってわけじゃないわよマキナは基本的に一人で遊ぶ方が好きだしそれにあの子感情のムラが激しいっていうかあんまり変な意味にとってほしくないんだけどずっと一緒にいると疲れるのよね
Okay. Maybe she's playing by herself because she understands that?
うまく説明できないけど猫みたいなものよ構ってほしい時だけニャンニャン言ってすり寄ってきて飽きたらスッといなくなっちゃう感じ
So she's very cat-like. She's like my cat, she'll be biting us next thing we know. My cat's weird. He's absolutely adores my wife, and he's super gentle with the rest of the family. But for some reason with me, he always feels like he has to fight for top position, like we're battling for alpha. And like he makes it known, like he goes out of his way to make me leave a room if he can. And I do the same to him. So, yeah.
癖っ気でふわふわしてるし体もぐにゃぐにゃで柔らかいし体温が高いから抱くと暖かいしなんか甘ったるい匂いするし猫っぽいよね
A cat. I see.
まあ慣れないうちはそっけないかもしれないけど絶対に悪い子じゃないから仲良くしてあげてよ
I don't plan to force her to be friends if she doesn't want to be, but yeah, I'll try to avoid being hated. If I avoid unnecessary contact, I shouldn't inspire any hatred or come to hate anyone myself. In exchange, I won't be liked or come to like anyone either. Maintaining emotional distance along appropriate lines is an essential but extremely difficult aspect of forming efficient interpersonal relationships. This man thinks like an encyclopedia. Of course, there are always those careless puppy dog types who will leap into your arms wiggling their tails right from the start. Yeah, I've known a few of them.
何よ、
Oh.
私の顔じっと見て。
He knows one of them too. Well, just thinking about how beautiful you are.
キスしたくなっちゃった？
She's unashamed. All right, Amane, close your eyes.
うん。
Her flesh swelling with some ridiculous expectation, Amane closed her eyes and thrust out her lips as instructed. Moving quickly and silently, I make good on my getaway, leaving the girl in her foolishness. Oh, that's so mean.
うんってどこ行ったのよ。もう意地悪。
I see. Makina might have the right idea. Leaving out later or goodbye entirely and silently running away certainly is less troublesome. Don't take it the wrong way, Amane. It's not that I hate you. Just trying to avoid being hated by you. Nice. Read books in a well-lit area. That was a teaching my masters. At the time, I was accustomed to reading while shut up in a closet or dark room, so those words felt a bit refreshing. Of course, it's not like I'm worried about obeying the teachings of a woman who's already dead. I'm still not good with direct sunlight. But here I am searching for a bright place with a book in hand anyway. Aren't I adorable? Wonder how she died. No reason to wander around looking for a sunny place in this crappy heat. Stepping away from the air-conditioned school building, I unfold the school's submission guide pamphlet. On the coded 3-folder brochure, there's a bird's-eye view illustrated of the campus, with a mark to the south of the schoolhouse and annotated planned site of library construction. Planned site, meaning there isn't a library yet, I guess. Although there's something library-esque on the second floor of the school building, the collection only holds about 200 books. Oh, that's tiny. You can apply to have a book stocked if you're after one in particular, and apparently the bookmobile replaces the existing collection every once in a while, but it doesn't seem like it's being used that heavily. In other words, there's no reason to go out of my way to borrow a key to use it. I brought my own books, and there are plenty of well-lit areas beside the library. While casually looking over the pamphlet, I find the words Rose Garden. This is definitely our principal's doing. Oh, of course.
乙女たちの通う学園にはやっぱりバラ園が必要よね。毎年新入生が入学する時期には先輩たちが自分で育てたバラを新入生の胸に添えるの。素敵。
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Or so I can easily imagine a certain woman who doesn't know how to act her age deluding herself. He's so mean. Pretty flowers might calm your mind, but they won't fill your belly. Got room to grow them. It would be better use for an edible plant, but telling her that would probably just make things unpleasant. I'll just have to remember to greet Principal Tachibana with a good day, Oni-sama, next time I see her. A rose garden, eh? I don't have any interest in edible flowers, but I guess there would be a shade tree or two as well. Imagining myself reading under a tree surrounded by blooming roses brings a smirk to my face. Guided by these silly thoughts, I decide to head toward the rose garden for the first and only time. They call it a rose garden, but not a single one's in bloom. Based on the map, this is definitely the right spot. There's even a white arch that seems appropriate, but from what I can see, there aren't any roses in flower. Maybe the garden's still a work in progress, or perhaps they're cutting the buds during the summer. Well, not like I came to see roses in the first place, so whatever. Oh, well, hello. Aw, she's just passed out here. Apple and everything. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting anyone else to be here. No, more importantly, what the heck is she doing? I approached silently and touched Makina's neck in the area of her carotid artery. She's got a pulse. On close inspection, she's breathing quietly, so I guess the wicked stepmother, Amane in this case, didn't feed her a poisoned apple. She's sleeping. Wait, is this thing a cat, I think? A large cat is serving as the soundly sleeping Makina's pillow. I take it for a stuffed animal for sure. Oh, it's literally a cat! I was like, what is he talking about? I thought he was just describing her. No, she's just got a cat here. Sure looks like a fluffy toy, but when I draw close, the stubby ears buried in its fur twitch like a miniature radar antennas. My next question, why sleep out here? Soon resolves itself. I see. Definitely nice and cool here. Cats are knowledgeable about cool places, or so they used to say. As for Makina, I expect she was wandering around by herself as per usual, then grew exhausted and collapsed into sudden sleep on the spot. I watched this partially gnawed apple on Makina's chest rise and fall with her breathing. She fell asleep in the middle of eating, just like a baby. I notice that Makina's mouth is half open and dripping transparent drool. Not to mention her hair is a scruffy mess, the ribbon on her uniform's crooked, and she's wearing a different socks on her left and right leg. What's with this girl? As I look down upon her, Makina suddenly sniffles noisily. It was shockingly loud. What a weirdo. Been a while since the last time I laughed at a woman's sleeping face. Even as I'm filled with the desire to keep watching, discomfort at the peaceful atmosphere of this place also wells up within me. Hey, the cat. At that moment, I sense someone watching me. I look over to find Makina's pillow cat has woken up and staring up at me in surprise. Sorry to bother you. Go back to sleep. I leave them, taking care to avoid making noise, and sit down under a tree a little ways away. Whew. Wandering around as she pleases and falling asleep in the nearest cool place when she gets tired, I see. She certainly does remind you of a cat. I'm envious. That's not sarcasm or anything. I genuinely am envious of Makina. I'm sure that she brings that little pocket of naturally peaceful space with her wherever she goes. I think that's something worth envying. Probably very precious to her as well. Which might well be why she doesn't want to step outside the sanctuary of a school when she can avoid it. Inside the sanctuary, that would crumble in a moment without the protection of others. I wonder if the day will come when I too can sleep in that utter defenseless way. Turning toward the sound, I notice the fat white cat from before appearing from the direction of the thicket I just left. Rustling its way through the foliage on stubby legs, it stops suddenly where it spots me sitting under the shade of my tree. Glaring at me with sleepy-looking eyes, it lets out a single disgruntled meow. I like how that's a voice actor instead of just getting a cat to meow for you. My bad. After getting suddenly awoken in the middle of a pleasant nap, it's only natural. If I were pulled out of bed on a Sunday morning by some pushy religious solicitor, I'd sure to make a similar face. What? That's an interesting reference. Although the fat cat doesn't seem to have accepted my apology, he snuffles roughly and lumbers away from the place. As I'm watching the cat's dignified exit, the bushes start to rustle again. I hear the sound of a dim-witted creature awakening and lazily stretching out its body. When I take a look, Makina's crouched on the ground on all fours, bending her back. She really is a cat in human form. Makina opens her mouth, holds out a yawn, rubs roughly at the tears spilling out of the corners of her eyes. After a restless look around the area, she draws herself up off the ground. Not like I'm doing anything I need to be ashamed of, but before I realize it, I've hidden myself from her. She looks like how I feel. Just relax. I want to go sleep. Well, not really sleep, but I just want to break. After standing stock still for a moment, Makina takes a bite from the apple in her hand and wanders off briskly. And where is she off to now? Doesn't look like she's got any particular destination in mind. Driven by interest I find difficult to pin down, I decide to quietly follow Makina. He just can't help it. There's no regularity to Makina's actions. Just when I think she's walking straight towards something, she'll come to a sudden stop, look around restlessly, and head off in a different direction. She's so impulsive. It doesn't seem like she's lost or anything, so I suppose she's just moving wherever her whims take her. It makes it incredibly troublesome for me to tail her. Not that it'd be a serious problem if she noticed me, but if I awkwardly called to her now, I'd have feelings she'd just run off again. I skillfully hide my presence and continue shadowing her movements. Hailing a girl without her knowledge. Objectively speaking, I guess this would be stalking. Just as I'm finally starting to get fed up with the following, Makina's directionless ramble, which resembles the random staggering of a sleepwalker more than anything else, the rare wandering monster in question comes to a halt. Her resting place is an area on the outskirts of school courtyard, in front of an artificial cement pond of uncertain purpose. Makina totters her way to the pond, thrusting her hand in the pocket of her skirt to retrieve some half-eaten white bread. She starts tearing off chunks to throw into the water. Every time Makina makes a small hand hurls a bit of bread into the pond, a loud splashing sound resonates on the surface of the water. Apparently there are fish being kept in the pond and she's feeding them. It's funny, because it seems like she's being cute, but part of me's thinking she's going to talk about wanting to cook them up. And first of all, cat-like, again. Second of all, if they're koi, that's terrifying. Don't cook koi. She's fattening them up to eat. Clawfish? Looks around the area and rapidly grabs a short tree branch laying nearby and leans over the depths of the pool and begins poking into the water. Although I was puzzled there for a moment, it seems like she's trying to capture a crawfish, but is spotted in the pond. Why? Why? This looks risky. Given her character, it's obvious she'll be taking a face-first dive into the pond very soon if I just sit here. I approach Makina from behind and call out to her. Hey, watch out or you'll fall into the pond. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have called out to her out of nowhere. Makina's head slips off the ground in a stereotypical slapstick pratfall. Whoops! Swiftly reaching out to the floor underneath Makina, I firmly seize the collar of her school uniform and pull her back to safety. Held by the nape of her neck like a kitten, Makina lets out a feline cry. You're light. Are you at 40 kilos? There isn't any difference in weight from the backpack I'm always carrying. Given this weight and size, I could lug her a good 25 kilometers in a single day. Oh, sorry. I wasn't planning to call out to you, but it's better than letting you fall into the pond, isn't it? No need to thank me. I did the natural thing given the circumstances. Look at me shamelessly doing the life-saving hero number despite being in large part responsible for the problem in the first place. Might have been the makings of an American politician. Oh, it's so true it hurts. Makina gives a quick bow of thanks and without another word starts to run away from me yet again. Hey, hold it. Where do you think you're going?
Huh?
Don't give me Why are you running away from me? Hey, she's saying more than 3 words. That's good. When she asked me point blank, it's not like I have any particular justification for detaining her here. That said, it's kind of unpleasant to be avoided this blatantly. At the very least, if there's a reason she's doing this, I want to know about it. I think I asked this before, but are you scared of me? If there's something reason you're avoiding me, how about telling me? If possible, I'll try to address it. Again with the silent treatment. Deciding to pursue the conversation more patiently, I squat down to match my line of sight with Makina's. Do you remember my name?
Kazama Yuuji.
That's right. Yuji's fine. Okay, then call me whatever you want. Wait. So first name's too much, but brother isn't what? Oni? I have to say, being called her big brother is a bit embarrassing on my end, but well, alright. When I turn around in response to the splashing sounds coming from the pond behind me, there are a number of fish gathered at the surface of the water, flapping their mouths in demand for more food. Seems they've come to expect a handout when people stand near the pond. Makina, you still have breadcrumbs left? Makina thrusts her hand into her skirt pocket and rummages through its contents. I can imagine her pockets just full of random trinkets like buttons and dice. As she talks, she pulls out things out of her pockets one after another. The item that emerges mostly are sweets like candy, chocolate, chewing gum, along with a erratic selection of tools like nail clippers, rubber bands, and glue sticks. Although I've heard that women's purses are connected to the 4th dimension, this girl's pocket seems to be connected to a garbage dump. Makina carelessly rains down the rubbish that emerges from the ground around her. One after the other. What is this? I pick up a plastic container shaped like a large film canister. There's a label placed on the side filled with numbers and symbols of uncertain meaning. Tiru. I'm not going to steal it or anything. Here, take it. When I hold out the case to her, Makina snatches it back instantly. Okay, alright. I message received. I'm not going to sneak bites of other people's food at my age. Amane is not one for restraint. Amane, huh?
なんでアマネーだってわかったの？
I didn't. Just said the first name that popped into my head. Really was her? Yeah, she's surprisingly gluttonous side.
私から聞いたって言ったら嫌なのよ。ほら、パンをあげるから、これで我慢するのよさ。
Sounds good. Good to hear. Good as her word. Makina shoves some half-eaten bread under my face.
はい、全部食べていいのよさ。いっぱい食べて、まるまる太るのよ。
Are you planning to eat me? No, I wasn't planning to eat it. I take the bread scraps from Makina, tear off some small pieces, and throw them to the pond. The fish at the surface struggle like a pack of piranha for the food, messily gulping it all down. Nice appetite, huh? I thought these things were carp, but now I get a closer look, they're actually goldfish.
金魚なのよ。去年神社のお祭りで私が救ったのよさ。
Okay, so I thought they were gonna be koi fish and it was just like translating goldfish, but no, she's like seriously like little pet goldfish that you buy, like the feeder fish even. But she got them and they probably grown up because goldfish will grow really big if they have enough room. From the goldfish snatching game, huh? If those were originally goldfish from a scooping game, they're almost certainly tiny, the tiny kind that are sold as live food for carnivores fish in the pet shops, but these things are huge.
毎日餌をあげてたらどんどん大きくなったのよ。
That's cute. Fish generally can keep growing as long as they're alive, so the more you feed them, the bigger they'll get. But just what have you been feeding them?
パンとか普通に金魚の餌とか暇な時とか休み時間のたびにあげてたのよ。
So she's absolutely gorging them. Ah, I get it. Fish don't really have a sense of being full, and they don't feel nerve pain either, so they'll eat as much as you give them, even if their stomachs are bulging out.
そうなの？
The number one cause of death among aquarium fish is ingestion from being overfed. Or that's what it said in something I read when I was a kid.
なんて本？
I think it was a magazine called Monthly Junior Science. There's an article about raising fish in ozonated water where it was mentioned.
へえ、お魚の本なの？
It sounds like it was more like a popular science kind of thing. Not just fish, it had features on things like animals or space as well. My older sister was seriously a dedicated reader. I'd pick up magazines like that when she finished, although half of it went over my head. Am I recalling the contents of a science magazine I read back then? I suddenly remember something. Hey, Makina, you had some pickled squid in that pocket, didn't you?
あるけど、金魚にあげるの？
No, just take it out for now. Also, have anything that we could use as a string?
お裁縫の木綿糸ならあるけど、何するの？
She's a cornucopia of odds and ends. You'll see. Receiving the squid from Makina, I firmly tie one end of the thread around it and the knot on the other end to the tree branch and pick up at random.
釣り竿？
It's for the crawfish, though. Exactly. So now I toss the squid dangling by the thread into the pond. Around the area where I threw the squid, I could see the shapes of the crawfish Makina had been poking at earlier. When I jiggle the squid in front of his face, within a matter of seconds, the crawfish extends his pincers and firmly seizes the bait. There, hooked him. See that?
すげえ！ザニガニ釣れた！
It's a crawfish, not a clawfish. You got the word wrong. As I dangle the captured crustacean in front of her eyes, Makina stares at it with an expression of immense curiosity.
ザニガニ真っ赤だね。
That's very unusual. Crawfish usually are brown. Bright red makes it look like a cooked one. There must be a lot of edible aquatic plants or something in there. Crawfish turn red when they have abundant food. Oh, I didn't know that.
餌が少ないとどうなるの？
They turn blue.
青くなる？
If you take a small newborn crawfish and continuously give it food like potatoes, radishes, and sardines that don't contain carotene, they turn blue in a month or so.
本当に？
I read it in a book when I was a kid and ended up trying it out myself. There were some that ended up with a lot of violet spots or white flecks, but I remember getting a few that turned to deep blue as well.
いいなあ。私もやってみたい。
Okay, then try to catch one yourself. I pull the captured crawfish off the squid and return it to the pond, then hand the fishing pole to Makina.
私に釣れるかな？やったことないのよさ。
First time for everything. Experiencing new things is always worthwhile, so you might as well start by trying to catch one yourself.
じゃあやってみる。
Don't fall into the pond, alright? Also try to get the smallest one you can.
頑張るのよさ。
Taking the crude pole from me, Makina forcefully hurls the squid into the pond.
ザニガニ釣れるといいな。
I already told you, it's crawfish, not clawfish.
仕方がないのよさ。私はバカだから。
I don't know about that. Is that the issue here? I mean, I do remember pronouncing snail as smale back when I was in elementary school for a while, but after my sister pointed it out to me, I stopped making that mistake. Don't you have someone to point out that sort of mistake for you? Your mom, for instance?
お母さんは私のこと嫌っているから。
Dang. I see. There's no mother in the world who hates her child was my mother's line, but by now I'm all too well aware that the world isn't that simple. I suppose there really are mothers who hate their children, and for those children, that can't be the topic they want to chat about with some stranger. An awkward attempt at consolation would backfire here.
お兄ちゃんは優しい人なのね。
Sounds like she's very starved for familiar bonds. And maybe that's why she just wanted to call us Oni-chan. It's like, because she doesn't want a friend. She doesn't want like a companion. She wants a brother because she wants somebody who cares in a familiar way. Me. Seems like I haven't quite gotten the hang of being called Oni-chan yet. You serious? How am I nice?
ね、私の家族に無関心でいてくれるところ。
Just wasn't interested enough to risk it.
なんで嫌われてるのか興味ない？
I stare steadily at Makina's small back silhouetted against the pond. If you want to talk, I'll listen.
ね、それは私がバカだから。
Don't they say that kids are cuter when they're a little dumb?
私のバカを侮っちゃいけないのよ。こう見えても私札付きで筋金入りのバカなのよさ。
Can't say I've ever heard anyone with that fierce a reputation for being stupid before. And the fact that she's saying it, I'm guessing it's more if she's repeating what others wanted to hear. So her mom disliked her, right? Probably called her an idiot because she maybe struggled in school. She obviously has struggled. Well, she's like, with the multilingual background, it makes sense she'd struggle. But like, if her mom took offense to that, like, why aren't you like being like the daughter I want you to be? Why aren't you being as skilled as I am? Why aren't you being more capable? Why do I always have to like catch up with you? Like, maybe she's saying that she's heard it so many times, she's decided to make it part of her being as a defense mechanism, right? Because like her mom's saying like, you're stupid. She'd be like, yeah, you're right. And it's like, it stops feeling like an attack because her mom will just stop. But then she starts to believe it. That's the problem. It's like, she might genuinely think she's an idiot. And you know what? We're all idiots. Even the smartest people are idiots. It's about what you're an idiot about, really. Because all of us are intelligent about some things and stupid about others. We can't be perfect at everything. Society sometimes seems to like glorify certain types of intelligence and uplift them. But but no matter how smart someone seems to be or how genius they are, like photographic memory, IQ of 210, there's gonna be stuff they just won't understand. There's gonna be stuff that they're gonna fail at. There's gonna be questions they don't have answers to that a lot of other people would. Because it's part of being humans. We don't know stuff. I'm like the king of that. I wouldn't call myself an idiot, but I'm definitely pretty like uneducated in a lot of ways. There's a lot of experiences that I wish I could have and I just haven't had yet. And I don't have a lot of talents necessarily that are displayable. I mean, the closest I have is probably this channel. I like to think my writing is something I can eventually put out there, but that's something that's going to take work and practice. Something I would like. I kind of started. I recently had to take a step away from all the other stuff that's going on, but something I do hope to continue to pursue the rest of this year. With so much going wrong and so many failings in my life, like for me, school was a failure, my health has kind of started to fail. Whether they're my fault or not, both cases being there, doesn't really change what's real and what like challenges I'm facing. So I'm trying to, instead of focusing on the things I can't do, tackling and charging into the things I know I can do and have enjoyed, like the YouTube channel. It's the reason why I did the membership thing. I wanted to continue to dedicate myself to this. There's a reason why I started a writing project after years of not really being able to like make time for it. Because I want to pursue something that's interesting to me. It's why I started getting the snakes I've always wanted ever since I was a kid. because I feel like it's time for me to start exploring that part of my life and that part of my desire and interests. It's not right. It's not like it's going to be some earth-shattering thing. It's not like I'm going to change the world or make a big difference like I always dreamed of. Like, I'm never going to do that. But I can still be really good and be really, really knowledgeable and smart about the things that matter to me. And this kind of stuff does. So, thanks for being a part of it. Well, don't worry about it. There's nothing but idiots in my vicinity, including me.
私ね、別にお兄ちゃんのことが嫌いで避けてたわけじゃないのよ。逆に嫌われたくなくて、バカな子だなってそう思われないように、なるべく近寄らないようにしてたのよさ。
It's like I said, I'm surrounded by idiots. If I went around hating people for something like that, I'd run out of my supply of hate real fast. Well, there certainly are people who can't hold together their fragile sense of self-worth except by looking down on others. Even a few true idiots would take those emotions to the extreme, becoming dictators or cult leaders, and launch hunts against their inferiors. But why assume you'll be hated over something like that anyway? That way of thinking seems counterproductive. Debase yourself by saying I'm just an idiot, and you'll just puff up the many self-styled geniuses of the world.
でもね、私、アマネーみたいに綺麗じゃないし、ユミちゃんみたいに頭良くないし、何の才能もないのよさ。
Preach, my girl. I say the same thing. I'm the same. There's no point in standing around with your mouth open waiting for talent to fall from the sky. You make your own.
どうやって？
No matter what you're doing, the most essential thing is to not give up. Fail as many times as it takes. Keep trying persistently until you can call yourself average.
それでも人並みだよ。
That's something. Average is just fine. If you can collect a nice group of average level skills, then you're already above average. You created your own sort of talent. Being a hard worker is a talent in its own right, were my sister's words. And from that group of average skills, you can work to improve further on the things you think you're suited for. A person blessed with talent, in a matter of speaking, is just someone who found a path well suited for them early on. When you get down to it, people can accomplish nearly anything as long as they don't give up. Obviously, but it's true. Obvious, but it's true. On the other hand, guys who give up at the first setback will never get anything done. There's no need to rush. You're still a kid. You've got time. Try to figure out try out anything and everything. Struggle around as much as you want. Good grief, this is golden knowledge. It took me like my whole life to figure this out. And I still don't have it figured out perfectly. I rest my hand on Makina's head with a gentle thump, as it's at just the right height for this sort of thing. That's what school's for, right?
そうなのかな。
At the very least, I think the principal wants this school to be that sort of place. So you might as well throw out your chest and do as many stupid things as you want, with pride. Of course, if this girl ends up doing something truly dramatically stupid, the principal will be the one facing the music, so I'm probably overstepping my bounds just a bit here.
じゃあ私、バカでもいいの？
Yeah. Heck, honestly, it might come off as very anti-ambition, but if you don't want to change, that's also okay. It sounds like you might want to, because you don't sound like you value the way you are, but doesn't mean you have to force yourself to change. Why not? Being dumb's fine. In the first place, guys who go around calling themselves geniuses are either weaklings or fragile egos or jokers who use the line to get a laugh. And even if you were some genius, it just makes it easy to make mistakes it makes it easy to mistake yourself for a perfect human and start slacking off. Errors like that get passed to the tortoises of the world get passed by the tortoises of the world eventually.
そっか。やっぱいい人ね、お兄ちゃん。
Don't get me wrong, I just wanted to try playing the nice guy for a bit. You shouldn't trust me that easily, got it?
あ、知ってるそれ。ツンデレってやつなのよさ。チルチルがいつも練習してるのよ。勘違いしないでよねって。
I have to say that the sprite of her smug look is probably one of my favorite sprites I've ever seen in a visual novel. Like, all sprites are pretty cool. Like, I love the art in a lot of them. But that face is just, it's like meme-worthy. How to put this? I'm not sure how I feel about being put in the same boat as that girl. Makina, I think you got a bite.
おお、なんとしたことか。
No need to rush. Slowly pull it out of the water.
ああ、
Yeah, you did. See, people can do anything if they try. Do not give up before you start, okay?
なんか自信ついた感じ。このザリガニを部屋に持って帰って青くなるか実験してみたい。
Okay, then you should go to Amane or Sachi to see if you can find an aquarium to raise it in. Make sure you only feed it stuff without creatine.
アジとかイワシ、大根やジャガイモ。
Oh, you remembered. I put my hand on Makina's head and ruffled her hair around roughly.
こう見えても記憶力は結構いいのよ。
Dude, I wouldn't call that dumb. Alright, better get that crawfish in the water while it's still good shape. Don't overfeed it, okay?
わかった。ありがとうお兄ちゃん。また遊んでくれる？
Yeah, see you later.
ありがとう。
Makina, still clutching the crawfish, waves her hair tearfully and takes off at full speed toward the dorm. Thanks, I don't recall doing anything worthy of much gratitude, but regardless, hearing such a happy thanks feels kind of pleasant. Maybe it's because I was raised in an environment where such words were very rare, but I think being able to thank others so freely is also a sort of talent. Probably seems perfectly commonplace to her, so I'm sure she's not even conscious of that skill. So to get the feeling, she may just be overlooking the talent she does have. I get it. I guess that's what makes her an idiot. Like, okay, I think it's been pounded into her head that her mom wanted her to be good at certain things and she just wasn't. Whether out of sheer rebellion or simply just lack of interest. Because the thing is, like, you're never going to get good at something if you don't have an interest in it. It's got to be, like, there's got to be some level of interest there. I know plenty of people who, frankly, were very smart and could easily have passed, like, their math classes if they just cared. Like, they just didn't care. But they could have if they had just a little bit of effort. They say that idiots don't catch colds, but it's probably more accurate to say idiots don't realize when they've caught a cold. In the same way, because Makina's an idiot, she's probably oblivious to her own abilities. Honestly, what a weird girl. But then again, weird people are rarely boring. Or so I think, basking in the peaceful, sluggish atmosphere Makina left in her wake. Nice. That was cool. I like that. That was fun. It's a little bit of a shorter one, but I think that seems like a good place to end. And it seems like that was our Makina kind of like break the ice chain of events. I was wondering if it was going to go a little longer like Amane's did, but that seems like a good place to end. And it's kind of like the changing of the day and like the set shift seems to indicate like a next phase. And so I'm guessing we're going to essentially have an episode for each girl, which is really nice. I like how it's establishing a proper like beginning to the relationship with most of the girls. In this really unique way. So it's pretty cool. Really excited to see this play out. That was fun. Makina, okay. My first impression of Makina was a little suspect. Anytime I see characters that are very childlike, I feel like they're playing to tastes that are very questionable at best. But it doesn't have to be that way or problematic. It's interesting because there's a dichotomy there. Because it can be a little suspect, right? But at the same time, it is genuine to meet people who are just very small and childlike in their demeanors. Like, I've met people who are my age who are very small and very young looking. Like, it's a very possible thing. Heck, I was even watching, it was a long time ago, but like at one point, like YouTube recommended, and I went on a binge of watching like scenes from like the Hanson's To Catch a Predator show, where they like lure in people who are being predators online with younger people or people who claim to be younger, kind of lure them in, kind of catch them, talk to them, and then usually they get arrested as well. And they talk about in there a lot of those types of things, like, oh, like kind of sketchy, right? Like it's really, well, it's not kind of sketchy, it's super sketchy there. But one of the things that was interesting about the show is that they have decoys that they have kind of to help lure the guys in, to help them believe it's a real thing, that there's nothing being pulled. And so they would find actors who are like young men, young women, like in their 20s, but who with like a little makeup, a little bit of stylization and behavior, they could pull off looking like that. Like there's one girl who was on there who like genuinely, she looks like she could be 14, 15, but she was like 19, 20. And like, it's one of those things where like, I'm sure she kind of hates that. Like, it kind of sucks that like she literally got a job looking like a child. But it's just, sometimes it's just a lot you draw. So like, you can't be too hasty. I think one of the best characters that has like kind of like the small childlike demeanor, but very clearly wasn't a child. I really liked how they established was Maho from Steins Gate Zero. Just excellent example of a character trope done right. Makina definitely seems to be so much on the like childlike demeanor. It's still, I think, kind of teetering on like the questionable area, but having seen that makes me appreciate her as a character a lot more. I don't think she's intended to just be like trope bait, like I was worried she might. Amane was kind of the same way, where there's a lot of depth already to these characters and they're displaying it so well, so quickly, which is really neat to see. So Makina has really surprised me as a character. I'm really excited to get to know her better, but I do think it's interesting. Like, I'm guessing there is like a romance route with her, and that just seems like, to this point, that seems incredibly weird. Because I was getting strong sister vibes from her already, and now she's calling us Oni-chan. It's like, I feel like I've just already adopted her emotionally. So like, I just don't see myself going down that route at all. It'd just be weird at this point. So if that was the ending you were hoping I was going to go for, I'm going to say there's a real solid chance it's not going to happen. But I've been surprised. I've been surprised before. We'll see how it all plays out. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed listening to this ranting and raving as always. I really enjoy being able to make these videos, and I'm glad to be back to doing it. I hope you have continued to find good content to watch, and that if you're ever just looking for something to watch, I've got a great backlog of some good titles. And if you don't know who Maho is, I highly recommend you read Steins Gate, the first core one, and then Steins Gate Zero, which is a supplementary one to that, like talks about like other stuff, like really good series if you've never read it. I'll try and remember to put a link to my playthrough, but if you haven't played it yourself, you really should. It's definitely one of those ones that's like really important to like experience, and then you can just join me and like see and share my experience, but it's really something you should explore on your own. Anyway, enough ranting and raving. Thank you so much. Thank you to the patrons. Thank you to the members. You're all the best. And anyone who's just watching this, and if you're sticking around to the end, thank you. So until the next video, watching me up to see me in next. I'll see you there.